All right, guys. So I guess we're on episode 10 now. Just trying to think of something, simple video to do. These I like the ones that don't really take that long. Plus, they don't take that long to upload. But I know you've probably seen there's 1,000 of these on YouTube, on whatever platform, social media platform. But I do get asked a fair bit what I use for home defense. I will go over, some of the, I guess you could say, common options or thinking that people have, and give you just my input. Every situation is probably different. This is just, some of the things that went into my thought process behind it. But with that being said, first and foremost, so talking home defense, anything is better than nothing. So yeah, whatever you choose to use to protect yourself, your family, whatever, anything's better than nothing. So with usually like the first thought somebody has is, all right, well, let's look at a pistol. So handgun. So when we look at a handgun, so let's take, for example, all these are unloaded, nothing's in them, but we'll double check. So we'll take my 43X right here for an example. So this is my carry pistol. Now this one does have a Shield Arms, the little Shield Arms mag catch and magazine. However, for this video, I'm just showing the standard Glock magazine for G43X. Why would I not use this for home defense? So first off, this is my carry pistol, like I said. Here's why I wouldn't use this over some of the other things here for home defense. So number one would be just the sheer size. So it's great, it's compact, it's easy to carry, but it is snappy whenever you go to shoot. The smaller the handgun, the more snappier it's probably going to be. Even with good grip, good recoil mitigation, it's still going to be snappy. So that would be number one. Number two is magazine capacity. So with it being a smaller handgun, you're going to be limited to magazine capacity. Now this, like I said, is a stock G43X magazine that holds 10. I do use in here the Shield Arms magazine, which is 15, and if you use their extension, I think it gets you up to 17. So but if you, for most people, just off the shelf G43X, you're only going to hold 10 if you wanted a pipe. But anyway, so that's kind of why I wouldn't use that for home defense. This is probably going to be controversial because I do own one of these. If you have read a lot of the forums and all, so this is a SIG 320. Now this is a little bit different one. So this is the DH3, so it's not just a standard 320. Make sure nothing's in there. It isn't. But yeah, so this would be, if I were going to have this gun set up for home defense, this would be how I would go about doing it. So why would I use this? I don't use this for home defense, or this isn't my primary home defense weapon. But why I would use it for home defense, number one, it's full size. So you can get a much better grip on this pistol. It's heavy. The DH3 variant especially is more kind of geared towards the competition shooter. So it's got some weight to it. It's full size. Flared mag well, the big thing about it is the fact that you have a 21 round magazine, so not including one in the pop. Much more ammunition that you can carry in the firearm for home defense. Because I think it's pretty safe to say if you ever get in that situation, you'd rather have more than you need than not enough. So full-size handgun. Now, one thing that I will also mention, and aside from the carry, which I don't use for home defense, every other weapon that I'm going to show does have one thing on there, and I think it's the most commonly overlooked item you can have on any weapon at any given time, especially for home defense. Do yourself a favor and buy a light. I mean, it's, you know, yeah, this is, all these guns are going to have Surefires on them. Stream light, buy a light, have a light. So if we're looking primarily at home defense, it's probably operating under the assumption that something's going to happen at nighttime, right? Well, these lights up here, especially the one on here and on something else I'm going to show, these lights are not just for, yes, they're primarily used for identification. Yes, I mean, obvious illumination, but people do not understand just how much of an offensive weapon they could be whenever you, just being honest, shine a light or get blinded by a light from something like this. Take, you know, Surefires on my AR right here. I mean, you're talking 1,000 lumens, and I'm telling you, I did it. Just shined it one dishonest when I first got it, shining the reflection in the bathroom mirror, and I'm telling you, it had me seeing stars, and that was when it was light outside. Much less if you're going from pitch black, you get hit with a light. I mean, a good weapon light, and I'm telling you, it is a significant, I guess you would call it, tactical advantage in that scenario to have. If you ever, God forbid, you ever get put in that spot, yeah, the person that gets hit by the light, I mean, they're in a bad situation. Yeah, so do yourself a favor and get a light. You absolutely want to be able to, God forbid, like I said, you're in that spot, you're going to need to know 100% without a shadow of a doubt what the threat is, and, you know, positively I did. So anyway, that we will talk ARs now. Is this a tremendous weapon? Yes. There's no doubt about it. I believe everybody needs to have one. There are pros and cons to it when you're talking, you know, a home defense weapon. If I was living by myself, if I was living where there's not a house immediately right beside my house or apartment or townhouse, whatever you may be living in, then we might be talking a different situation. However, I have a family, and yeah, when rounds start humming out of this thing, there can be some significant penetration, especially through drywall, stuff like that. And you don't want that if you're on one side of the house. You know, children may be on the other side of the house. You do not want something that overly penetrates through, you know, whatever you're shooting, or God forbid you're missing. So yeah, it's great. I have this, of course, ready to go at a moment's notice in my house. However, it's not the first thing I'm grabbing in a home defense situation. Now, I have threats around here, and I'm talking like threats to animals we have. You know, I live in a fairly open area, so I'm going to have this weapon easily accessible at any given moment. But if you're talking solely on home defense, I'm not choosing an AR. Magazine capacity is great. That is excellent. However, in a home defense situation, let's just be real, it's probably going to be over with pretty quickly. And I don't think that, you know, in that particular spot that AR can benefit you the most compared to what I do run. So yeah, I'm not going to go with the AR either. Now, I will give an honorable mention, and the only reason that I didn't put the firearm up here when I started making this video is because most people aren't going to have it. That's just being a realist. I would give a significant honorable mention if I didn't mention my MP5. MP5 pistol. It is suppressed, and I shoot subs through it. So that's going to be a much heavier grain bullet. It's still going to penetrate but it's not going to be like an AR or rifle round going through there. I mean, you are shooting a 9mm. So, yeah, I will give an honorable mention to the MP5. It kind of breaks my heart to say it, but no, in a home defense situation, I'm not grabbing my MP5 either. So with that being said, we will go to what I do use for home defense, and what's the first thing I'm grabbing in a home defense situation. So without further ado.
Would you recommend anything for the end of the night? Something big, bold?
May I suggest the Benelli M4?
Good old shotgun. I mean, I don't believe that, I don't believe you can beat a shotgun in a home defense situation. So now, with that being said, would I feel comfortable using just a regular 3-round, 5-round shotgun? Probably not. So as I probably already inserted the clip in here, this is a Benelli. This isn't actually an M4. This is a 1014, so it's just the military version. It's essentially the exact same thing. You're going to hear everybody refer to them as the M4. So yeah, the Benelli M4. Why do I like this for home defense more than anything else? Let's just be honest. If you're in that situation, it's going to be extremely close quarter, and a shotgun is doing a tremendous amount of damage up close. And you can decide, depending on whatever your layout is of your home, you have a bunch of different ammunition variants, whether you want to go with slug, whether you want to go with buckshot, like this Winchester Defender round. So this is essentially, it's a slug and buckshot in one shell. So, this is just what I grab and I feel the most comfortable using in that type of situation if something like that were to ever happen. This one does have an STAC TV magazine card on it, so throw one away, grab another. It's essentially a magazine for a shotgun. I'm not really going to go through all the stuff that I've got in this one. You don't have to have an M4. Beretta 1301. They make a 300 patrol version, I believe. I mean, a Mossberg 500. Whatever you get, I would highly recommend. You need to have a significant size, magazine size. That's just what I would feel most comfortable with. If you're talking something that holds 3 rounds or 3 shells, there's not a lot of wiggle room there for missing. And in that situation, give yourself a little bit of room for error. So yeah, this one has the same thing as my AR, has the exact same Surefire light. The only difference is I have just a regular push button on this one, and this one's got a pressure pad on it. But essentially you can get them to do the same thing. Yeah, this is, like I said, this is what I would go with. In that situation, bump in the middle of the night, door getting kicked in, I'm grabbing this. And it's a pretty significant attention getter. So yeah, that's just a real quick rundown of some of the home defense things that I have thought about and what I would use them for. Like I said, that's the first thing I'm grabbing. I do have access to all 3 of these at any given moment. So if a certain situation comes up, I needed to grab something else, I could grab something else. But yeah, I personally think that shotguns are really the best thing. And if you don't believe how good shotguns can be, or you underestimate how good shotguns can be, then I'm going to insert a clip from TikTok from the Fat Electrician, and you can hear what he has to say about them, or what was said about them.
If you don't know, the British SAS is one of the most gangster special forces unit on the face of the planet, and that's coming from me of all people. So to impress them is kind of a big deal. They issued an emergency request to get some Benelli M4s of their own. After receiving them, they made it their new standard operating procedure for their point man to carry one.
So yeah, that's pretty much a rundown. Interested to know what your guys' thoughts are. Like I said, anything's better than nothing. Whatever you have, get out, train with it, use it, be proficient with it, be comfortable with it, because I'm telling you, man, when that stress hits, I mean, just for competition shooting, much less than, God forbid, a situation where your life is really on the line. That overload in your brain is going to be so much that things that seem so easy to do you're not going to be able to do them. So yeah, get out, train, practice, be proficient, know your firearms, know the ins and outs of them, what your limitations of them are, and yeah, just be prepared, man. And whatever you do, like I always say, just have a plan. So thanks for tuning in. Let me know, like I said, any content that you guys want to see related to firearms. I mean, I'll be more than happy to go over any of it, anything I might have some knowledge in, and knowledge I have may be limited, but just my opinion. So yeah, so thanks for checking in.